And here is Foreign Affairs Minister Chrystia Freeland following NAFTA talks.
Ambassador Lighthizer and Minister Guajardo. It's always good for us to have trilateral conversations. It's a trilateral negotiation. We agreed that today ministers will be returning to their own countries, as we did a couple of weeks ago, to consult on the progress, the details that we've been working out this week. As I've said before, this really is an iterative process, and it's important for us to take what we've been talking about this week, go home, talk with our stakeholders. We have instructed officials to continue working hard on this, officials from all three countries. Ministers will continue to be in touch over the phone, and we plan to meet as needed, meet again as needed, which I think will be soon. And c'était une bonne rencontre trilatérale avec l'ambassadeur Lighthizer, le ministre Guajardo de Mexique.
She said it was a good meeting for all three ministers, for all three, for the counterparts.
Chez soi pour consulter avec les entreprises, les syndicats.
She says that, repeating what she said in English, that they're going to return to their home countries and speak to stakeholders.
Et le processus des négociations d'accord commercial, c'est un processus dans lequel c'est très important d'avoir les discussions au niveau ministériel et après de parler avec les gens, avec les citoyens, et après ça de retourner au niveau des négociations. Les ministres ont donné les instructions aux fonctionnaires de continuer, de travailler, de continuer son travail acharné. Les ministres vont être en contact au téléphone et nous avons décidé aussi d'avoir encore une rencontre quand ce sera nécessaire, et je pense que le processus continue.
But you're running out of time. You're running out of time. What about the May 17th deadline, Mr. Speaker Walsall?
As you know, David, Canada's position from the outset has been that we really support and welcome this modernization of NAFTA. We think NAFTA has been a good deal for our entire continent, and we also think after nearly 25 years, it is time to update it and bring it in line with the new realities of the economy and how people live and work. Our view has been that what we want is a good deal, not just any deal, and the negotiation will take as long as it takes to get a good deal. So that's been Canada's position from day one. It continues to be our position now.
Is the deal next week realistic?
I'll let Katie go first. Sorry, I'm being my own press secretary. Alex.
Are you comfortable with the idea that this now looks very likely that this could drag into 2019 because Congress needs time to pass this?
You know, as I said, Katie, what we are focused on here is getting a good deal for Canadians. And by the way, we think a good deal for Canadians can be a real win-win-win that's good for Americans and Mexicans too. And we really have been working extremely hard. There has been a lot of work both by officials and at the political level, really focused, I would say, over the past 2 months. That work continues, and it's going to take as long as it takes to get a good deal. I really want to emphasize to people, NAFTA is an extremely complicated agreement. It governs the trading relationships in the world's largest economic bloc, and it's really important to get this right. But I also really want to emphasize to people that since March, when we really moved into this more intense rhythm, we have been making good, meaningful, solid progress, and I anticipate that progress will continue in the coming days.
So are the issues that remain insurmountable in the next 7 days? Are the issues that remain insurmountable in the next 7 days?
You know, as I say, the Canadian view is about focusing on the content of the agreement, and it's going to take as long as it takes to get a good deal.
Is your to-do list longer now than when you walked in? Is your to-do list longer now than when you walked in? After this meeting, it wasn't a very long time ago. Is that a good sign?
You know, I think it was. I'm sometimes a long meeting is a good meeting. Sometimes a short meeting is a good meeting, and vice versa. The atmosphere is good. The commitment there is a lot of goodwill at the political level, at the level of officials. I would even say at the level of our countries. And there's a commitment to really doing the work it takes to get it done. It was a productive meeting, and ministers came together to agree on what is the process, what is the path for going forward.
So
is the honest issue really a Mexico-U.S. thing at this point? Is that kind of like the wages stuff? Is that kind of just a hang-up between those two countries, and Canada just has to sort of, patiently wait it out for them to kind of sort out the differences there?
Now, as you know, Adrian, I believe that it's important to leave the negotiation to the negotiating table and not to negotiate in public. So please, I have many concerns. One of them is not furnishing you with great headlines. Although I do believe I furnished you all with a colorful metaphor, albeit perhaps not so intentionally this week. But so let me just so my preamble was intended just to say you slipped in a few details of the auto negotiation, and do not take my answer to confirm or deny any of those details, because that part of the negotiation is in private. Having said that, as I've been, keeping people informed this week, autos has very much been a focus this week, and Canada definitely, Canada cares very much about getting the rules of origin right. The car sector is tremendously important for Canada, and so we are certainly, I would say, the Canadian focus for this week on the autos issue has been really a very technical focus on getting the details right. And we have had meaningful conversations both in our ministerial bilats and in talking with stakeholders about being sure that that's the case. And this really, one of the things that has been the most useful about this week has been the chance that we have had, that I've had, to have conversations, get more details about where we are moving on rules of origin, talk with our stakeholders, and then to bring that feedback back to the negotiating table.
Can I ask you just in a general sense about whether there's clarity now about the scope of the negotiations, about what's left after the autos portion is solved? Do you have a lot of negotiating to do once that's solved, or is it starting to look like that's going to be a little bit skinnier, to use a non-technical term?
Alex, let me give you a two-part answer. The first is, in this negotiation, as in any trade agreement, nothing is finished until everything is finished. That is the nature of trade negotiations. These things have to really be done as a complete whole in a package. Having said that, also, we have, from the beginning of the negotiation, been making steady progress. The part of the agreement that I refer to as the modernization chapters, the sort of, cutting red tape at the border, those sorts of issues, we've been making steady progress, closing some of those chapters, and that work continues and will very much continue at the officials level. And I think that work did, continue to make steady progress this week. But having said that, I want to leave people in no doubt that nothing is fully decided until everything is decided. And that is always the nature of these deals, that it only can fully come together when you're able to bring the whole thing together.
But many executives from the auto companies are here in Washington today. Are you planning to meet with them? Is it your understanding that Ambassador Lighthizer, when he just...
And you're listening to Foreign Affairs Minister Chrystia Freeland in Washington, D.C., saying that she and her Mexican counterpart are returning back home, that they're going to talk with their stakeholders, that they'll be in touch over phones, and the team will stay in place over the weekend.